when you speak, it is not about you or the audience in itself, it is about the message.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, St. Wilkinson. Previously, episode 253 on the 12-Minute Convos podcast. St, it's been 2 years, 8 months, and 23 hours since we last recorded our conversation. It's a great pleasure to connect with you. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Angel. And yeah, it's been a while. It certainly has been some time, yes.
It doesn't
How are
feel
you
like
doing?
that. Oh, I'm great. Thank you for asking. But it doesn't feel like that time.
Not really. I think we both have been very busy. And yeah, it's been very interesting, deep ascent to a lot of different things on both sides, as you.
Yeah, tell us more. Tell us more, please. What's going on?
Well, the funny thing is, when I talked to you, I think it was one of my very first interviews. So that will always be a very treasured memory of mine. And yeah, since then, a lot of things have happened. So I had personal development going on, professional development. I got nominated for multiple prizes and received awards, and it was unbelievable. It has been an amazing growth curve for me in that sense that I really became an international speaker and author, and yeah, so many things happened. I traveled all over the world, and it was very interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, dig in. Tell us a bit more details. Come on, there are people that would want to know what's the book and how they can connect with you to have you speak at their event. Let's get into that.
Well, my book is called Obstacle Buster, and I wrote about the 8 areas in life that are important to keep balance, which reaches from personal to health to business and finance. It's the whole range. And what I created is a coaching book that people can use themselves without actually having to hire somebody to ask themselves the most relevant questions in each area. So they're able to guide themselves through the steps. And the reason why I did that is I'm an executive coach and I work for top level and C level, usually people in multinational companies and corporations. Most people cannot afford that kind of service. And I thought it would be helpful to condense this experience and knowledge into a small book that anyone can read, no matter in which culture they live in and where on this planet. But it gives them the connecting dots in how to get an overview and holistic approach in how to handle their challenges and life. It's not perfect. We're all human. Everybody goes through the same experience, but most certainly it will provide a solid roadmap.
So that's definitely the author side, which speaks to the content of your life. The speaking side, I think when we did speak, we spoke a ton about authentic networking.
Right.
Is that connected to you speaking all over the world?
Well, it was very interesting because I got nominated by people for awards that are really prestigious and that came out of nowhere. So the first time I received such an invitation, I thought it was a joke. I got an email from the Women Economic Forum, the Global Women Economic Forum from India, inviting me to talk as a plenary speaker and at the same time receiving an award for Exceptional Women of Excellence. So for me, when I first got that email, I was like, where did this come from? And yeah, I buckled up, grabbed all my things together and went. Last year in April, I was in India, in New Delhi, and spoke in front of people from about 60 different countries, I think, and accepted the award, which was a great honor.
Did you ever speak before such a big audience in terms of the places that they're from?
I've spoken in front of 2,000 people in 2016 at the National Achievers Congress in Malaysia. And before that, I had speaking assignments over various events in my life. So the first one I remember was in my high school before graduation when I addressed the entire school and all the parents. I don't know how many people that were, maybe about 800. But yeah, it's something that I've been doing not on a regular basis, but for a long time.
Is it different? I mean, like knowing that it's 60 different countries. Is it different from speaking to one audience of one country?
Well, you see, that's a very interesting point you're bringing up here because I'm as well a communication coach, right? And when you speak, it is not about you or the audience in itself, it is about the message. And the importance of the message has to be clear when you go up on stage. So, whom are you going to talk to, and what content do you want to convey to your audience? And how is this going to be perceived? So, for example, you talk to a 3-year-old toddler in a different manner than you talk to a doctor or an engineer, right? So you adapt your style to the environment. And once you do that, you have no time left to be nervous or think about, oh my God, how am I perceived? And what are people going to think? Because your full focus is really on delivering the message in a coherent, precise manner and on time. And that's actually pretty difficult to do. So we only had a time frame that was very short, and most people went over it because they were reading from their paper without connecting to the audience. And when I talk about authentic connection, I mean human to human connection, which involves you look at the person, you have an interaction, you talk to somebody and not at someone, right? It's not like you stand in front of a wall and you just talk to the wall. There's a person, a human being with emotions, feelings, and reactions, and you react to that. So when I was on stage, I had no paper, and the preparation I had was useless because the people that came before me on stage talked already about the topics I wanted to mention.
Wow.
So I had to basically just go up there and talk. And the way to do that is when you connect with the audience, you make eye contact with people and you have a curiosity about who they are and where they're from. It's like in a normal conversation, one-on-one. It gets into a flow. You see the reactions and then you can react to that, give more information or explanations, or you move on to the next topic. So it's a give and take.
Love
It's
it.
not a one-sided thing. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. So tell me, when we spoke, you were in Malaysia. Where are you now?
I'm still in Malaysia.
All right, all right, all right. And I mean, like, the values you live by, are you still living by them in terms of, I know when we spoke, a huge focus was on patience and breathing as well. I laughed when I asked you, what was one thing you've done consistently? And you said breathing. I said, oh, and I laughed, but you really meant deep breathing. And you shared a technique, right? The 3-second in, 4-second out technique for 3 minutes. Do you still subscribe to these things?
Absolutely. The entire public persona and the entire career that I built on these things is coming from a very deep level of experience from myself as well. It's not something that's propped on or that I've adopted and, okay, I'm going to do this now. No, no, no. These are things that I have been doing basically my entire lifetime. And that's why it's not an effort for me to implement it because it's a habit. I just do it. And even if in situations where it's difficult, yes, of course, I still do the breathing exercise. And I tell people around me when they're in difficult situations, please breathe, because proper breathing is the basis of life. People underestimate this power. And when they're not aware of it, it's a problem because most people breathe very shallowly. It doesn't nurture them. It doesn't give them the full force that's supposed to be giving to the body and the mind and everything else. So without proper breathing, nothing works, right? And yeah, absolutely. I still implement this. Patience, of course, is another one. I mean, without patience, you're not going to achieve anything, right?
I totally agree. For those that are listening, our amazing audience, what would you suggest? Looking back from where you were when you were working in there. And before I even ask this question, let me not let another second go by before I say thank you. Because while you were episode 253, I remember you getting in there and inviting a ton of individuals to help me with my goal, which speaks tremendously as to who you are, ST.
Welcome.
You subscribe to helping others. Zig said it, right? He said, help enough other people get what they want and you will get what you want. And I think I'm coming full circle kind of answering the question I'm asking you, but like, why would you suggest to those that are listening that they should do that with all of their might, with all of who they are, help others?
That's a good question. I think when you just focus on yourself, your universe is pretty small. It's very limited. But if you actually give attention, kindness, professional support, whatever it is, it's going to come back in some way. I'm not doing things because I expect people to give me anything back. I give you referrals and then expect from you to do something back. No, I don't. It's just this constant flow of energy. And you grow with it. It's nurturing relationships, it's nurturing your personal growth, it's nurturing your business. It's human interaction in itself, which is mostly missing nowadays in many, many places, right?
Yeah, well, I am thankful that we are restoring it and keeping the flame burning. ST, my friend, this has been such a refreshing, great pleasure to have this conversation with you. Before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I would like to share a quote from Ian Eliasson, and he was an amazing human being. If you want to Google it online, Eliasson with 2 S. He said, without passion, nothing happens in life, and without compassion, the wrong things happen.
I just did my breath there, right? My 3 seconds and 4 seconds out.
Feels good, right?
Yeah, it's definitely great. ST, again, my friend, thank you for passing by. Where's the best place for someone to connect with you?
Actually, if you Google my name online, Sharesz T. Wilkinson, you will find a lot of different links. Anyone to your liking. So there's my business link. I'm a Forbes Coaches Council member as well. There is personal links. There's my offer link. So you'll find all this different kind of information on Google.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, again, she says Cherie, but I just know her from the beginning of time as ST. ST Wilkinson, thank you, my friend, for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.